I've been fish keeping for about 4 years, and I've had my YouTube channel for a little bit over more than a year. And let me tell you, it's been one heck of a journey, and I've learned so much. I learn something new every day. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect, but I'd love it if you guys came along for the journey. Subscribe to my channel so we can learn together and grow together.
If you're new to the channel, thanks for watching Pond Saga 5. I lost all of my monster fish. Everything that could have possibly went wrong in just one day. And in the end, all of my monster fish paid the price because of my careless mistakes. I took some time away from the fish hobby, but now I'm ready to give this predator pond another shot. But this time, I have to start all over again from scratch. Welcome to my journey. I've neglected this pond for way too long, and now it's time to get it back up and running. But first thing we gotta do is get it cycled. By introducing small amounts of fish to the pond, we'll keep the ammonia levels low and also help the beneficial bacteria to build quickly. And today I have my little helper with me, and we're gonna get this job done right. These little fish will help to cycle the pond and also eat mosquito larvae if the mosquitoes decide to lay eggs. This right here is my grow out tank. I have a couple of Oscars in here, and I also have some clown loaches in here for cleanup duty. This tank looks amazing, full of life. We will be adding some more fish shortly. I decided to pick up some koi fish from the pet store. So now we have some Synodontis catfish, some koi fish, some Oscars, some clown loaches, and I put a few mosquito fish in the mix. I put the mosquito fish in here strictly for the Oscars. You know, at this stage, it's a great source of protein for these guys, and it also gives these guys the perfect chance to practice their predatory instincts, as you can see right now how he's trying to chase one. This experience will come in handy for him. I decided to go pick up a giant gourami. I had never seen one in the pet store before, so when I saw that he was available, I quickly scooped him up. These guys right here start off small, but they do really start to grow quickly. As you can probably already tell, these Oscars are really starting to pack on some size, and I also added a rope fish in the mix, and I really like him. He adds a lot of personality to this tank. I like to watch how they just glide through the water. I liked him so much, I decided to get a second one. These guys end up in the strangest places. This right here is a redtail catfish. I had never seen one of these in the pet store before, but I've seen them online and I really wanted one. I just happened to be in the area of this one pet store, so I decided to stop by. And when I saw him, I knew I had to get him. These guys get huge, and he would make a great addition to my predator pond. And I decided to name him Panda. This catfish, they're probably one of the most prettiest catfish that I've ever seen in person. And man, this guy packs an appetite. I came across this little guy as well. This is a redtail tiger shovel-nosed catfish, and I decided to name him Cream Pie because of his color. At this stage, he has a yellowish, brownish tint to him. Now, back to the pond in the update. What I decided to do was I added some snails to the pond to help clean up some algae, and I also decided to add some plants to here. I also added 2 different filters. This right here is a 27-gallon tote filter, and the other one is a 5-gallon bucket filter right here. I also placed a UV light inside of them just to kind of help, you know, clear up any algae blooms down the line. Wow, as you can see, these 2 filters really got the job done. I also decided to add some lucky bamboo with some lava rock in these buckets right here, just for extra filtration. You can never have enough filtration when it comes to monster fish. This water is crystal clear, and I also decided to add some pothos plants for some extra filtration. Now that the pond is up and running, it's time for a trip to the pet store, and this time I'm getting some common goldfish. And today I have another helper with me. I hope you guys have been enjoying my content just as much as I enjoy making it for you guys. If you're new to the channel, thanks for watching. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel out. Also hit that notification bell so you can get notified when I drop new videos. Now let's go. These feeder fish goldfish serve two purposes. The first purpose is to help to cycle the pond. The second purpose is these fish will eventually end up feeder fish for my monster fish, but they won't become feeder fish depending on how fast they grow. Will they become snacks or will they not become snacks? I don't know. Only time will tell. I also decided to add some snails to the ecosystem. My reason for adding them to this pond was basically so they could help me break down the leftover food or plant matter if it started to rot. I was trying to get the goldfish on film, but during the day, they seem to hide the most. And you see that glowing light inside of that bucket? That right there is actually a UV sterilizer light that I added into my filter to kind of help with algae blooms. This pond is coming along. I think it's time to add more fish. I decided to add my African Centodontis catfish into this grout pond. Not just one, not just two, but 3 of them I decided to add into this pond. The reason is they get about 6 inches in an aquarium, but when you put them in the pond, they can grow up to 1 foot, and I really wanted to see that happen. This right here is my redtail catfish. He's almost doubled in size, and I decided to put him in this pond as well. He swam straight for the floating planter basket. There's so much room in this pond that none of these fish know what to do with themselves. I also added my red-tail tiger shovel-nose hybrid catfish into the pond as well. He was smaller than this when I first got him, but he seemed like he put on enough size. And at first I thought it was a great idea to put these guys in a big pond, but I soon realized because the pond was so big, they had problems finding their food. So I ended up taking them out of the big pond just to put them back into the grout tank. The only reason why I put this guy into the big pond is because he started to swallow some of my fish. And I soon realized that this was going to be another challenge that I would have to face. And at the moment, I really didn't have another grout tank to put these guys in. So I ended up coming up with a solution. 2 weeks later, after Panda and Cream Pie put some weight on, I decided to give it another shot and put them back into the big pond, but this time inside of floating baskets, which will separate them from the other fish and enable me to feed them directly. Look at this little guy. Look at his belly. You can tell he eats around the clock. He's been snacking on those feeder fish like I don't even know what. So I went and got a basket and I got a pool noodle and I cut it up and I zip tied it to the basket in order to enable it to float. Now this little guy right here has also put on a little bit of size. I gotta be careful with him because he's really slippery and he will stick you. Even though he's mixed with red-tailed catfish, their skin type does not feel the same. These guys will be just fine in these floating baskets. There's enough room in here for them to swim, but also small enough that they'll be able to find their food. I made a trip to the pet store, but I called in advance. I wanted to know if my shipment had came in, and to my surprise, they said that the new arrivals had just arrived and I couldn't have been more excited. At the time, when trying to look for these fish, I guess they were extremely hard to get. So I was really happy that I was able to get my hands on these guys and very excited to get a chance to grow these guys out. They are so small, so tiny. These 2 baby red tails are also going to make a great addition to my predator pond. And I also brought along some feeder fish just to give these guys an opportunity to snack around the clock so they could really start to put some size on. This right here is toe jam and pork pie. And man, when I say these guys were tiny, they were the smallest ones that I had ever come across. And because I had 2 more new red tails in the arsenal, I have to make a new setup. So now
I have another tank. This is my 55-gallon. I just cleaned it up and I'm about to put in some work. As you can notice, it has blue in the background, blue on the sides, and I have to finish putting blue on the bottom. This is a used tank, but it's new to me. I came across this used 55-gallon aquarium and I got it for a steal. It only cost me $25. The owners of this tank were moving and they didn't have any space for it, so they were looking to get rid of it, so I came up on a bargain. This tank didn't come with a lid and it didn't come with a stand, but that wasn't a deal breaker for me. I made my own stand by using 2x4 plywood and also adding cinder block bricks, and I made my own background by using a Dollar Tree poster board in the back. And I must say, this aquarium came out awesome. I also ended up making my own lids and putting a knob on them. Since this aquarium is used, I had to do a leak check. I had to make sure there were no leaks, because if there were leaks, I would have to find it and then fix it. When starting a new scape on a tank, there are typically two types of sand that I like to use that are budget friendly. Either I get pool filter sand or I get play sand, depending on which one I can get my hands on, but at the moment, play sand has really been my go-to. And that's simply because the stores usually always have it on deck. When I go looking for sand, a lot of times they don't have pool filter sand because it's already bought up. But that's not really a big deal because I really seem to like the play sand anyway. I like the color of the play sand. The grains seem to be just a little bit smaller, so you just have to rinse it a little bit more so it doesn't cloud up the water. Next, I'll be using some bags of lava rock in both of the tanks, because this right here adds a great hiding spot for the beneficial bacteria. This stuff really helps out a lot when it comes to cycling an aquarium from the start. Also, it helps out a lot if you could put this stuff in one of your hang-on back filters as well, just a tip. Now, since you guys are just watching me do all the work, you could at least do me a small favor. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and also don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can get my content as soon as it drops. So in order to get both of these tanks up and running side by side, I used the extension cords, a power strip, and I also had to get a weatherproof electrical box because this is going to be outside. And I'm going to place it in between the middle of both of these tanks. I've been seeing these submersible aquarium filters online and they look pretty cool, so I decided to give one of these a try for the first time. This water is super cloudy, but the filters will take care of that. The blue poster board looks so good on the back that I decided to add it to both of these tanks. In about 2 days, these tanks should be crystal clear. Now here is a side-by-side view. The 55-gallon and the 75-gallon, they are both looking fantastic. No, they're looking phenomenal. Remember, this blue poster board is from the Dollar Tree. I just taped it onto the back. And the stand is also looking good. Remember, I have 2x4 pieces sitting on top of cinder block bricks. And because these aquariums are outside, I put a strip of Velcro in the front of the tank on the 2x4. And I also put a strip of Velcro on the tarp, so that way when I pull it over, I can basically cover the tank and it will stay attached. And also, this will help me cover the aquariums when it has torrential downpour so that no rain will get inside. These tanks are clear, but they're not crystal clear. So I'm just waiting for these tanks to really clear up a lot, a 100%, so I can go ahead and start adding the fish. So I have heaters in here, I have wave makers in here, and then I also have this submersible aquarium filter in this one right here, and it's doing its job picking up dust coming off of that sand. This was a really cool DIY project. If you don't have enough space for an aquarium inside your home, don't let that stop you. Remember, you can always have an outdoor aquarium just like I do. And I made my DIY aquarium lids by using corrugated plastic boards, and I just attached the knob to it. Now, I have a grout tank for my baby red-tail catfish. Right here, I have these 2 breeder boxes in here just so I can keep them separated and so I can feed them directly. And also to keep the larger ones away from the smaller ones, just in case they attempt to try to swallow them whole. Look at this 55-gallon and this 75-gallon side by side. Wow! These tanks came out perfect. You can see how Panda is enjoying the space. I couldn't have done a better setup for this redtail and redtail hybrid catfish grout tank. I'm so glad that I did sand substrate because it's a lot easier for me to clean because these catfish are gonna get dirty. This is Oreo. I ended up picking him up, so now I have 4 baby redtails in my arsenal. He's a really good eater. He's already been putting some size on since I got him. I've been feeding him some shrimp. It looks like his little belly is about to pop. So I ended up doing something with toe jam and pork pie. Even though they're small, they seem like really good eaters, but I felt like they also needed some more swimming space, so I decided to add them into the community tank. I also put Oreo in here as well. They don't waste any time trying to get fed. I do these hand feeding exercises with them so they will be comfortable with me, so that when they get larger, they will have no problem eating directly out of my hand. In this community tank, I decided to add some more little baby Oscars and also some black ghost knifefish. I'm really trying to put some size on this hybrid catfish. He's mixed with a redtail and a tiger shovel nose. He will eat every 3 to 4 days, but my redtail catfish, I noticed, will eat about every 2 days, or they will eat readily every day if I feed them. So while Panda is in the corner right here, just basically sleeping, and he's not aware of me putting food in the tank, I'm really trying to power feed this little guy, because if Panda smells this food, he's gonna come straight over and gobble everything up. And here's a prime example of him doing just that. So here is a fun fact that I came across. Catfish use their whiskers, also known as barbels, to help them find food by sensing vibrations. They also use them to smell, taste, and touch. Question: why are routine water changes a necessity? Answer: water is the basis for life, which is why the quality of the water hosting life is undeniably important. This is especially true when it comes to your aquarium. Because aquariums are closed systems, nutrients, contaminants, and chemicals can easily accumulate, in which with time will cause an unbalanced ecosystem and poor water quality. Water quality is not just an aesthetic concern, but crucial for the continuous health and growth of your aquarium inhabitants. Regular tank maintenance is critical in maintaining your aquarium's water quality. One key element for routine maintenance is water changes. Here's how I do my weekly routine. This right here is my DIY overflow. I made this out of PVC pipe
This is really how I stay on top of my weekly water changes. I basically drop this device in the water like this. I make sure that it's filled with water. I leave it in for a few seconds. Then I pull it out and then drop it down. This is a game changer. This is a water change hack for outdoor aquariums. So this is also another pro of having an outdoor aquarium, because you can make something like this and be able to do water changes whenever it's necessary. This little device also comes in handy on an outdoor pond. In my experience, they work best on a pond that is no taller than 3 feet tall. And it has two purposes. One purpose is for a water change, and the next purpose is you can build it to whatever length that you want to and leave it inside of the pond. So that way, when it rains, you can maintain your water level without your pond overflowing. And during the rainy season, that equals an automatic water change, which basically means it's less maintenance for you to do in your pond. But what I would say is, if you're going to leave it inside of your pond and you want the rainwater to do an automatic water change, I would suggest adding some water conditioner. I also use this device right here called a Python. It is also a game changer. It helps me to pick up the little particles in the bottom when necessary. These are the 3 products that I use personally. I'm not getting paid to sponsor any of these. This right here helps to put beneficial bacteria inside of my aquarium. This right here is the water conditioner I use. And this right here is aquarium salt. It comes in handy when treating your fish for illnesses, but I use it on the regular just to help add essential electrolytes for my fish. Some fish may be a little bit sensitive to it, so you may want to do your research before you start to add it into your aquarium or into your pond. So if any of you big companies come across this video and you would like to sponsor me, I'm all for it. Me personally, I do about 2 water changes per week, but that also depends on how much food I'm feeding these fish. So I have monster fish, so I feed them aggressively. So if you feed your fish a lot and you have monster fish, you're probably going to want to do between 1 to 2 water changes per week, depending on how much you feed them, because the more you feed them, the more peeing and the more pooping that they actually do. And if you're going to do 1 water change per week, I suggest you probably do between a 25 to a 30% water change. If you're doing multiple, do about 5 or 10% at a time. Yo, if you're new to the channel, thanks for watching Pond Saga 5.